Let's get some insight into this issue. David Gartenstein-Ross is a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He's joining us now. Just peel back the onion, break down the landscape, because I think last time we talked, there were so many actors, and at the time it looked more like a proxy war. Now you have all actually boots on the ground, a lot of countries involved as well. It's gotten more complicated, hasn't it?
It sure has. Last time around, everyone was fighting everyone, but the war against ISIS at least served as a unifying factor. Everyone could agree that they wanted ISIS to be pushed back. Even Al-Qaeda could agree on that. Now today, not only is everyone fighting everyone, but you have more states involved in a way that could bring them into conflict with each other, as we saw recently with Russian mercenaries clashing with the U.S. You have jihadists fighting jihadists, other than the ISIS-Al-Qaeda dynamic. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which is affiliated with Al-Qaeda, has clashed with another group, Ahrar al-Sham, which recently had a merger with another jihadist organization. You have Turkey intervening to fight against the Kurds in Afrin, and the Turkish intervention was pushed back not just by the Kurds, but also by Syrian government forces. So it really is not just a tragic situation, but one that's growing increasingly dangerous because of how many conflict dyads there are, how many people are fighting each other, the possibility of great power war, and ceasefires that are announced but that never seem to hold.
Yeah, this pause never went anywhere. And you have so many people suffering. I was reading just the other day that the burials have to go on at night, because if you bury the dead, there's a gathering. That's a good way to attack them. I mean, for the people in that area, I mean, it's a huge humanitarian crisis.
It absolutely is. And one thing that happens a lot when a war drags on for a long time, and this has dragged on for a long time, but it's nowhere like, say, Afghanistan or Somalia, is that it fundamentally changes society. I had someone asking me the other day about different groups and whether they're radical or moderate, and certainly one could talk about the extremist factions there. But what I pointed out was, when you have a society that's devolved into where the government has collapsed in large parts of the country, where it's devolved into sub-state violence, and where violence is normalized, it's hard to speak about moderation versus extremism, because having the ability to inflict violence is sort of a background prerequisite. If you don't have the ability to inflict violence, then you quickly become victims. So multiple communities, the Druze, the Christians, and others, are arming themselves to protect themselves from other militias. In a place like Ghouta, where it's fair to call the rebel groups that are there jihadists, that doesn't mean the population is, and they have no real alternative to go to who would have the kind of governance that any rational person should want.
What are the counterterrorism lessons from Syria?
Well, Daniel Byman recently wrote that the counterterrorism lessons are both counterterrorism failures and also counterterrorism successes. ISIS has been beaten back very effectively. And look, this frankly is something that the U.S. has been good at for a long time. When something resembling a state, whether it's Gaddafi's Libya or the Taliban in Afghanistan, tries to hold ground, usually U.S. aerial campaigns and special forces and our offensive missions can push them back pretty quickly. But it's really hard to stabilize, and we took our eye off the ball with respect to Al-Qaeda, thus allowing them to really insert themselves in the population and become a force that looks like it's going to be very hard to dislodge.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about this again, I'm sure. No end in sight, that's for sure. David, thanks so much.